Welcome back to the Greg Schreffler Show, where we talk about anything and everything that has God in it. Why? Because we gotta. I hope you like the intro music. It's by, let's see here. It's called Christmas Generous by Music for Videos at pixabay.com. Remember, if you can't watch, you can listen at your preferred podcast platform. All right. So this is episode 25. And as I mentioned at the end of last week's episode, I want to talk about safety. I got a little carried away at the end of the last episode about safety. So I'm going to talk about it in length. But it's still going to only scratch the surface of all the things that you can do and all the things you need to look out for. So as you can probably tell, I got this new boom arm microphone thingy. Trying it out here. I'm not sure how it's going to work. I think it's like $20, but hopefully it'll be okay. I'm trying to get used to it anyway. I'll try not to bump it so much. Well, as you know, we live in a time where personal safety needs to be everyone's top priority because it requires more discernment than it did a generation ago. And that's important because the kids today are clueless about safety, about situational awareness, about their environment. Many people believe it is because we see every incident instantly on our phones and social media. A split-second video of an attack can spread globally within minutes, making such events feel, you gotta watch out for those words, common and unpredictable. This constant exposure amplifies fear, even when overall rates aren't historically extreme. So a couple questions for you. Do you think people are more distracted today? Yep. Technology, as we've talked about before, occupies too much of our time and has too much of our attention. This reduces situational awareness, makes threats easier to miss, lowers instincts that would otherwise guide responses. We're also suffering from information overload, which is having a massive negative cognitive impact because we're getting news alerts, texts, emails, ads, social feeds, whatever kind of alerts. And our brains weren't designed for constant interruptions. Maybe they were. But anyway, we're not able to process it because this creates mental fatigue, focus deficits, reduced working memory, a diminished ability to scan our environments. The nature of attention has changed. In pre-digital societies, attention was needed for survival and anchored in the physical world. And there was less constant interruption. But today, attention is often externalized to screens. People walk and interact with the world while mentally elsewhere. Even brief lapses, like just looking at your phone at some photo or whatever, can significantly reduce awareness of surroundings. Oh yeah, what's the science behind that? Well, I'm so glad that you asked that question. Smartphones act like dopamine triggers. Each notification delivers a small hit of reward. This conditions users to seek constant novelty. Multitasking is a myth. What we call multitasking is now rapid task switching. Heavy multitaskers perform worse on measures of attention and memory. Attention span metrics are dropping. Although attention span as a clinical measure is debatable, there is objective research that shows working memory performance has declined in the digital environments. People more easily lose track of environmental context when engaged with technology. The difference is intensity and frequency. Pre-technology attention was sustained by necessity. Modern attention is constantly interrupted by optional inputs. Few past generations ever had multiple competing attention streams in the same way we do today. Why does this matter for personal safety, if it's not already blatantly obvious? Distraction directly undermines situational awareness. When someone is looking at a phone, listening to music with earbuds, mentally absorbed in thoughts or screens, they are not fully present in the physical environment. And threats, by definition, exploit absence of awareness, because distraction is the enemy of preparedness. A biblical perspective on focus and distraction. The Bible speaks repeatedly to the importance of watchfulness, not just spiritually, but mentally. For example, Luke chapter 21, verse 36. But stay awake at all times, praying that you may have strength to escape all these things that are going to take place. Stay awake. That means be mentally present, be spiritually alert, be physically aware. Distractions weaken this triad. Distractions erode awareness, interrupts attention, makes threats easier to miss, and it undermines preparedness. Are institutions less reliable? Trust in government is near historical lows. Surveys show long-term declines in trust in federal institutions. Now, I'm not going to bore you with statistics. You can look at the show notes for that. But this decline reflects a perception that governing institutions are less dependable, which can influence how people think about safety, law enforcement, and emergency response. Confidence in public institutions has fallen in the U.S. Gallup polls show this. Again, show notes if you want to get bored with statistics. When people don't believe institutions will act fairly or effectively, they may feel on their own when danger arises. And this is across the sector. It's not just law enforcement. It's universities, healthcare. I mean, it's everywhere. Broad erosion of trust. Multiple studies showing declining trust doesn't stop with government, like I said. Global surveys reveal similar patterns in multiple countries. So it shows the issue isn't confined to any one country. Many societies are experiencing skepticism toward institutions. And if you've paid attention, this kind of falls right in line with what we've talked about before, the opportune time for the Antichrist to come in and work his magic. Well, why does this decline matter for safety? Well, delayed reporting of emergencies. That's not good. People wait too long to seek help. There's hesitation to trust authorities during crisis. There's a greater sense of self-reliance, for better or for worse. And moral clarity is increasingly absent. Do you think that's true? Across repeated surveys, large majority of Americans say moral values are weak or getting worse, and many believe moral standards lack clear, absolute definitions. And I blame the churches for that. They've disregarded or they didn't rise up when they should have. And you know what I'm talking about because you've been with me and you know what things they didn't address. Even studies show that people around the world think morality is declining, though researchers note this may reflect perception rather than objective measurement. But perception matters because it shapes behavior, expectations, and trust in one another. All that rolls together. Perception matters. It drives behavior. It drives society. Yet Scripture gives us a framework that cuts through all of it. 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 tells us, "Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body." If your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, then protecting your life is not paranoia, it's good stewardship. What some people call paranoia we in the martial arts community call heightened awareness. All right, as usual, research brought to you by the Bible, internet, ChatGPT, and a whole slew of supporting links that you can just bore yourself with at your leisure. All right, let's talk about faith, because people get these weird ideas about faith. Faith does not cancel responsibility. One of the most dangerous ideas quietly circulating today, even amongst Christians, is a belief that faith exempts us from responsibility. I mean, surely the church shootings alone should tell us that's not true. That if we're walking with God, nothing bad should happen. That awareness shows a lack of trust. That preparation somehow insults God's sovereignty. Scripture teaches none of that. Proverbs 22:3 says, "The prudent see danger and hide themselves, but the simple go on and suffer for it." Jesus himself modeled this awareness. Multiple times in the Gospels, crowds attempted to seize him, and Scripture says he just walked right on through because it was not yet his time. Faith is not reckless. Trust in God is not testing God. Matthew 4:7. "You shall not put the Lord your God to the test." So what does that mean? Or how do you balance your faith in God to protect you and your ability to protect yourself? Well, don't go to places that are kind of dark places. And you know what I'm talking about. You're walking through a park alone at night. You're at the end of a street. I mean, I feel like these things are so blatantly obvious. But then again, I know these things are, I guess, brand new to some people. So, but putting the Lord your God to the test would be putting yourself in an environment you know is dangerous and expecting him to protect you. We need to guard the body as a guarded temple. When people hear your body is a temple, they think about diet and exercise, and maybe morality. And those matter, but temples in scriptures were also guarded. They had walls, gates, watchmen, rules of entry. Nehemiah 4:9. "And we prayed to our God and set a guard as a protection against them day and night." Prayer and preparation are not opposites. They are partners. They go hand in hand. Heightened awareness versus fear. Fear paralyzes. Awareness mobilizes. 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind." So, how about you use that sound mind of yours? A sound mind notices patterns. A sound mind stays present. Heightened awareness is not panic, it's presence. If you've ever been in acting, you've always heard, be in the moment. Be present. Next, body language is your first line of defense. Most crimes begin with selection, not confrontation. Criminals observe things like posture, gait. A gait? Is that like an open and closed gait? No, it's like a GAIT gait, which is how you walk. Eye contact, distraction. Proverbs 28:1 tells us the righteous are bold as a lion. Now, how should you conduct yourself in public? Back straight, head up, eyes up, shoulders back, eyes moving forward, purposeful stride, air of confidence. Most threats are avoided before they begin because someone decided you weren't worth the trouble. Just like in the animal kingdom, they prey on the weak. Situational awareness and transitional spaces. Now, we did talk about this at the end, or I was touching on this at the end of the last episode, so we're going to get into it a little bit more. Situational awareness is attention to detail, not suspicion. Ecclesiastes 9:12. This is going to be a while before I get used to this. Man does not know his time when it suddenly falls upon him. Violence often occurs in parking lots, doorways, walkways, stairwells, public transportation, gas stations. But let's get a little bit deeper here. So parking lots, for example. When you park, you note where you park. Make a mental note of it as you go into the store or wherever it is that you're going. Make a mental note of where you parked. Make sure you have all your belongings. Make sure your vehicle's locked. Make sure whatever valuables you have are hidden. Don't leave anything out that might tempt someone to break in. So you go in, do your thing, come back out, and what do? You start walking to your vehicle. You know how many times I've seen people do this or attempt to do this? They'll start walking out and then they'll hold up their sign. Like, here's your sign. They'll hold up a sign that says, I'm lost. No, I mean, they do it this way. They'll go, I don't know where I parked. I don't know. Now, if that's actually you, please stop doing that. And please think about ways you can remind yourself of where you parked. You got your little fob key thing. You can push a little button on there and it'll beep at you, help you remember or show you where you parked. But either way, you're coming out. Make sure you know where you're going before you come out of the store. Make sure you know where you parked. That way you can head there with a purposeful stride and this air of confidence that says, don't mess with me because it's going to be a struggle. I'm serious. You got to have that kind of look and aura, if you will, about you. It's going to be unpleasant. You may be able to beat me up, but it's going to be unpleasant. It's just going to be an unpleasant experience, and it's going to draw a lot of attention. So I don't recommend it. And usually they won't fiddle with it or whatever. Anyway, try to know before you go. Know where you park. Know what you're doing. And on your way there, you've already got your keys at the ready. You've got your hand or your finger or your thumb over the panic button. What? Yeah, in case somebody jumps out. Just smash that button real quick. You can do it that way. But as you're approaching your vehicle, you're scanning. You're looking for shadows. You're looking for reflections. You're looking for weirdness. Maybe some cars are parked extremely close to you all of a sudden. Or maybe they've got you blocked in. Maybe somebody's broke down and they're going to say, can you help me? And if you're paying attention and you're aware and not in your phone and your headphones on and you go, oh boy, I bump into somebody that's at my car because I'm so stupid. I don't have my head up. I'm not paying attention. Man, this stuff is so remedial to folks like us. It's just painful to have to talk about. But this generation is so oblivious. It's sad. But okay, I'll calm down. Seriously, please stop being a bonehead and pay attention. Just look around. You can wait to look at your phone. You can wait, especially if it saves your life or spares some kind of traumatic tragedy. It's worth waiting, isn't it? So you get to your vehicle, your key's already ready, put in the key, do your business, or you probably have the ability to unlock. You just want to unlock your door. You don't have to unlock all the doors. I guess if you're traveling with someone, you do. But you guys get in, or you get in, lock your door. Well, that door automatically locks when I drive away. No. Lock it immediately. Don't wait for that. Lock it immediately. And while the door's open or you're opening the door, the light comes on. Well, I turned it out because I didn't want to draw attention to myself. Whatever. Look inside. Look in the back seat. What's going on in your vehicle? All these things are going on in your head. What's wrong with the vehicle? Is there anything weird about my vehicle? Is there any broken glass around my vehicle? Just my tire's flat. All of this stuff and probably so much more you're taking in as you're approaching your vehicle. Or if you can see it from a distance. Then I need to call somebody. I don't need to go out there and figure it out. There's people standing around my vehicle. I don't need to go out there. And unless there's a uniformed police officer in a marked vehicle, you probably don't need to go out there if it's people you don't really recognize. So keys out, keys ready to go. You can get in, get locked before you take off, and you're on your way. There's so much to say just about those little things that I can't cover them all. So the same thing is going to be applied in doorways and walkways. And when you round corners, this is particularly important. Let's say you're coming down this way, okay? This is your path. And there's somebody right here. So from my perspective, I can't see this somebody. Same with you if you're coming this way. And then you're right here next to the wall. Snatch and grab. Real simple, real easy, real quick. But if you do a wide berth, that's a little more difficult to snatch and grab. These are just the little things that you can start to incorporate into your everyday life. Well, that's just ridiculous. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be paranoid all the time. Remember, what you call paranoia, we call heightened awareness. And I'm telling you, the days of living like you're the only person on the planet is over. Violence is out there. People want to do violent things. People want to do weird things, even if it's just run up behind you and spank your little bottom. They just want to do weird things, and it's happening because you're not paying attention. So please, take note. Take notes. Pay attention. Be observant. Get out of your phone. Get out of it. Get out of social media. I can't. It's part of my soul. Is death part of your soul? Victimization? Traumatization? Just pay attention. Come on, man. It ain't that difficult. Wide berths around corners. Scan. Listen. God gave you these senses. How about you use them? But we use them for the wrong things, you know. I'm jamming to my tunes, man. And now somebody's jamming a knife in my gut. Stairwells, same thing. Listen, scan, listen, scan. You can hear footsteps. You can hear shuffling. I mean, you can tell when things are amiss because you haven't heard them before. But not if you're buried inside your phone, whether that's visually and audibly. Stop it. Public transportation, remember we talked about this. If you're going to sit down, you want to sit with a seat facing the aisle so that there's nothing behind you or there's a wall behind you, same thing. If you sit somewhere else, make sure there's a wall behind you. If there's nowhere to sit where that's the case, then you're going to stand in such a way that nobody's going to sneak up behind you without you knowing it. And remember, you've got your earbuds popped out a little bit so that you can hear conversations and what's going on, and you hear somebody talking about them. You don't do what you did in high school, which was like, how dare you talk about me? Don't do that. That's stupid. That's immature. You just go, uh-oh, okay. You know, your heart's pounding inside of you, but outside, you're cool. You're cool, calm, collect. So, yeah. And remember we talked about you phone a friend. You've got safety codes to let them know what's up that you can say out loud and people won't understand. You just make these things up. And you can make up a lot of things. You can even bluff. You can actually bluff. Like I was talking to somebody one time and I was like, hey, look, just start talking out loud like you're on the phone and say, oh, okay, yeah, I've got to teach that black belt class tonight. Okay, yeah, I'll be there shortly. Don't worry. I mean, just be clever like that. Think like that. So like, oh, okay, this person knows martial arts. It's probably not going to be an easy target. Let's move on to someone else. Like having dogs in your house for intruders. They hear a dog, they're like, nah, let's go to the next house. You know, those kind of things. Anyway, public transportation, you got that. A bus situation is a little more difficult. You may not be able to sit way in the back, or maybe your stop's coming up and you don't want to sit way in the back. So if you have to sit with your back completely blinded to someone behind you, find a way to pivot 30 degrees, whatever you can do, whatever you can manage, so that you can see out of your periphery if something's happening behind you. And you're just going to be on the lookout for aggressive movement, fast. And this is something you do, same thing that you did when you came to your car. You're going to scope everybody out as you're walking down the aisle. And scoping the person behind the seat you're getting ready to take is important. Scoping them out, checking them out, and then sitting down and making sure, just stop it. Please stop having your head up and pay attention. This could save people so much discomfort in their life if they would just listen to these instructions. Okay, train station, subway, whatever. Stop standing at the line. Like, hey, I'm going to be the first one on. Stop doing that. Have your back against the wall. Let other people stand in front of you. Weirdos like to come up and push people in front of a train. Just stop making yourself so freaking easy. Just lean yourself against the wall. Kick your knee up. Foot on the wall. If you're going to look around, you're paying attention. But don't put yourself in these dangerous situations like being in the front of the line or being at the line where you get right into the car. Just take a breath. Take a moment. Think before acting. I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall sometimes because I know these kids are just set in their ways. All right, let's talk about another place like gas stations. Same thing. Scanning as you approach. Something weird's happening at this pump. Maybe I'll go down to the far end for the other pump, or maybe I'll go to a totally different gas station altogether. But here's some things that I've encountered. Women. Single, married, I don't know, but they're by themselves at the time. They roll up in their car. I'm on the other side of the pump, pumping my gas. They roll up, keys in the ignition, the door is open and stays open as they get out and pump their gas or fiddle with their payment options or even walk inside. Can you imagine this? Keys there, door open, they go walk inside to make a transaction. I mean, wow, here's your sign. So, yeah, this is not good, right? If there's somebody sitting next to you that says, I don't see the problem, please slap them for me. Don't do this. So you roll up in your vehicle and you already have made sure that all your doors are locked. And the only door that's unlocked is your door that you're getting out and closing and working whatever, your card to pay. And, you click the handle there and you lean back against your car. So nobody's going to come up behind you. I guess somebody could come up over the top of your car, but that would be kind of weird and probably move and make noise. But just pay attention. All right. Okay, let's go on. Because, I could spend so much time on each one of these. If you go into the store because you have cash, you want to pay, you get a better price. Okay, but understand that you're saying to anyone watching that, oh, she has cash or she has cash. That's a good sign. So be careful about doing that. Make sure your door's locked. Your valuables are covered when you go in. Make sure you look before you come running back out. Maybe something weird happened. Somebody pulled up. Well, can I get a jump? Well, how'd you get your car this far? Well, I don't know. I really am here to rape you, but I'm just pretending like I have car trouble. Just, oh my God, pay attention. Also, do you take care of your car? Keep up with it. Make sure it's running good. You need it to get away sometimes. Oh, and another thing that bugs me is people on each other's bumpers. Man, please stop doing that, okay? Because you're boxing yourself in. The safest way for you to be, the safest distance for you to be behind somebody is so that you can see the bottom of their tires. That's a fact, Jack. If you're up close enough to where you can't even see the tires, you're too close. Why do I need to park back, or why do I need to stop that far back? A couple of reasons. One good reason is because you have room to maneuver to get out if you can see the bottom of their tires. Another reason might be if somebody rear ends you, you're not as close to be rear-ending the next person in front of you. So just exercise these simple things and make your life go more smoothly. This is so much paranoia. I can't believe I got to do all this stuff. please. I'm sorry, it is what it is. The world is what it is, and the violence and the weirdos, you're going to have to do more than you've been doing to protect yourself. Don't park on somebody's bumper. Don't ride somebody's bumper. Anyway, let's move on. House, apartment, lighting is a big plus. Motion sensing lighting is awesome. Have that. If you can't install it, have somebody do it. Have the lights adjusted where you want the light to go when they come on. And shrubbery. Shrubbery. Yeah, your landscape or your bushes or whatever. You want to have 12 inches between your wall and the shrub. 12 inches. You want to be able to look down there and see unobstructedly that there's nothing there, nobody there. The simple things like this in your landscape make it more difficult for weirdos and bad guys to prey upon you. So lighting, shrubbery, and this applies for anything. Maybe it's not shrubs. Maybe it's junk you've got leaning up against the house. Just apply these simple things. Because awareness in these spaces is not paranoia, it's wisdom. Now let's talk about predictability, distance, and options. Criminals thrive on predictability, which makes all these young folks so simple to mess with because they're and they're I mean, they're just not there. They don't know you're there. You could be running up behind them making googly eyes at them. They wouldn't know it. Anyway, try to be different. Take different routes. Take the stairs instead of the elevator, or the elevator instead of the stairs. Turn left instead of turning right, or turn right instead of left, etc., etc. Try to be different. Don't be Rain Man all the time. Mix it up. Have your GPS open in your car while you're going. I know where I'm going. Okay, great. You know where you're going, but you got your GPS open so that if you have to go somewhere you don't normally go because someone's following you, then you have your GPS to help you. You've got voice activation features. Ecclesiastes 3:1, for everything there is a season. That sure is broad, isn't it? A season of what? A season of stupid, a season of weirdos, a season of violence. You know, we're in the season of an increase in weirdness, in violence, in ugliness, a complete and total lack of respect for another person's life. Where do you think that started? Oh, I don't know. Maybe abortion? Anyway. Seriously, pay attention. Remember that distance equals time and time equals options. When I was teaching martial arts, we always said, distance is your friend. So you're teaching lower belt levels, a white belt. Hey, you want to step back. If somebody's coming at you, you want to step back. You step away from the threat. The punch comes in or whatever it is, the grab, you step away. Simple. Distance is your friend. That's how you learn that. And then you get more advanced and you go, okay, I can step in now. I can parry. I can get on the outside and do damage. I can get on the inside and do damage. What do you mean by the outside or the inside? You know, just, I don't know. Go take martial arts and find out. But distance is your friend. Because awareness buys you all of those things that you need to stay safe. Also, you need to understand that you are your own first responder. You need to have that mentality, what I'm saying. Oh, I get hurt. Somebody just call the police, or somebody just call an ambulance or an ambulance. No. You can't have that mentality. Help is not guaranteed. Crowds do not equal safety. So learn some basic first aid. Oh, I've got a puncture wound. How do I manage this? Oh, stop the bleeding. That's always good. You know, and it's always so annoying on these TV shows and these movies. These people get shot or they get injured. Nobody takes a moment to do a little self-awareness and say, hey, I should stop the bleeding. They just go on about their business. It's so annoying. So annoying. Did I mention how annoying that is? When these shows, TVs, movies are so tactically retarded. It's frustrating. Anyway, Because, the first aid, not for yourself, but maybe for others. We've seen stabbings on public transit. People set on fire. Bystanders frozen from fear or just filming or not caring. And we don't know. Is it because they don't want to get involved? They're afraid to get involved. They're afraid to be a good Samaritan because they're going to get persecuted for being a good Samaritan? Or do they just hate you because of the color of your skin? So don't trust others, or don't expect others to help you in your time of need. Psalm 146:3 says, "Put not your trust in princes, or put not your trust in rulers or others. Be prepared to take care of yourself. Expect to, and do not outsource your safety." Oh, well, somebody will call 911. I mean, you remember those seminars? You're like, hey, you. That's what they teach you. You make eye contact. You call 911. Don't sit there and go, hey, would somebody call 911, please? You call 911. Only you can call 911. But anyway, why do people hesitate to help? People have watched Good Samaritans be destroyed by the media, prosecuted by activists, prosecutors, ruined financially and socially. Matthew 10:16 tells us, wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Compassion must be paired with wisdom. Next, let's talk about a big one here. Weapons, tools, and responsibility. Oh yeah, I carry a gun. Good for you. Do you know how to use it? Are you trained to use it? That's just so freaking imperative. I'm not telling you one way or the other. I carry a gun, me, martial arts, military. Yes, I carry a gun legally, but I've also have the training for it and how to use it. And that's fine. If you want to carry a gun, that's fine. But you have to know your weapon. You got to know the legalities in your area. And you really have to understand the responsibility of carrying a gun. It's not, look at me, I'm cool, man. I got a gun. No, dude, you gotta really understand. You gotta know your gun. Know what it can do. How many walls will it go through? Will a bullet go through? What kind of construction of a wall will stop my bullet? Will it go through somebody? If there's children behind this person that I'm dealing with, will that bullet go through that person and kill that child behind them? Somebody's shooting at me from a car. Can you see in the car? No, the windows are tinted. Maybe you shouldn't return fire. I don't know. Just so many things like that you have to consider. And the weight of it needs to be heavy. It needs to be a weight. It needs to be like, when you put your gun on, you need to take a deep breath and go, I understand. It's heavy, okay? You're saying, I'm willing to kill someone. And you're saying, I might accidentally kill someone I did not intend to kill. It's heavy. And if you have some bad guy at gunpoint and you're waiting for the cops to arrive, please understand the optics. The cops are there and they see you with the gun and the bad guy not with the gun. Or bystanders. What are they going to see? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? Understand these things ahead of time so you don't find yourself in them. Also understand that you're probably going to have your weapon confiscated during the investigation. Maybe a while before you get it back. But you've got to think about all this stuff. Like I pull security for the church, and I always try to teach people to get down. But what ends up happening is there's gunshots and people like, run around. And it's frustrating because if they're up, I can't respond because they're in between me and the bad guy. The bad guy can do whatever he wants because he doesn't care. But if they're down, number one, they're not going to get shot by the bad guy. And number two, I now have the ability to take this bad guy out. So you're in a public place. What's going to happen if you pull out your gun? What's going to happen? Did you go through I guess you don't call them ROEs, but did you go through the proper advancements of, sir, calm yourself, stop approaching me, you're scaring me, you're making me feel, you can't just go bang. You gotta properly go through these escalations. All that stuff's got to be weighed. It's got to be figured. It's got to be considered. Your environment, all this stuff is happening in split seconds in your mind. Where's my bullet going to go? Where should I shoot this person? What's this person wearing? Is this person on drugs? Oh, I think I'll do a headshot. Well, maybe. Greater chance of miss. Anyway, just understand the seriousness of carrying a gun, the seriousness of the responsibility. Know your weapon and its capabilities. Have the training on how to use it, how to reload, how to clear a jam, how to clear a bad round. I mean, you've got to know all this stuff. Don't just grab a gun because you can and think you're good. It's not being responsible. It's being the opposite. Now, I'm a big gun proponent, but if you don't know how to use one, I don't recommend you carry one until you get the proper training for it. Okay, enough said on that. Because it's a big responsibility. You got to know it. You got to know your environment. And you got to know the laws. Luke 12:48, to whom much is given, much is required. Training matters. Legal knowledge matters. I said that. Romans 13:1 says, be subject to governing authorities. We still need to do that. Remember what I said about someone rolling up and seeing you with the gun and the bag on the ground? They don't know. Or they may not know. And they may not care. They may be rookies. They may be whatever. Trigger happy. Trigger nervous. Well, you were in the right, but you died. So was it worth it? I mean, just, you got to take all this in if you're going to carry a gun. Ignorance will not protect you. All right, let's move on to spiritual parallels. The enemy exploits the same weaknesses. Distraction, isolation, predictability. 1 Peter 5:8, be sober-minded, be watchful, guarding the mind and prayer. Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Prayer sharpens awareness. Did you know that? Ephesians 6:18, praying at all times with all alertness. Folks, there's just so much to cover when it comes to personal safety. I hope that I touched on some things that you will incorporate into your life and that you will find useful. Take notes, run through this again, take notes, hit pause, whatever. Just please, 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 please understand the seriousness of where we are today in society. Like I said, remember, things are all bubbling up towards the perfect moment for the Antichrist to pop in. And part of that is the disarray of our society today. And as I shared with you, and as you can see in the show notes, it's worldwide. Everybody needs to be on the same page as far as not trusting, not believing, not caring. You need to look after you. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. You do need to take care of it, but beyond diet and exercise. Just be sensible. Like I said, common sense can go so far, but you have to start by pulling your head out of your phone, popping your earbuds out or your headphones off. What some people call paranoia is actually biblical vigilance. It's not fear-driven, it's not reckless, it's not passive. It's sober, watchful, responsible. Your life matters. Your awareness matters because you are not your own. You were bought with a price. Don't throw your life away. Well, I don't throw my life away. I don't do drugs. Maybe you don't, but maybe you're being kind of dumb when you're out in the world. I mean, basically, you're being blind. You're being blind. You've blinded your eyes, you've blinded your ears, and you've blinded your brain to be able to take in and process and offer up safety measures. Please, take your freedom more seriously. Take your exposure in the world more seriously. Pay attention. Maybe help others to do the same. Maybe you can start noticing things more when you start being aware more. Maybe you can intervene on someone's behalf. I don't know. But pay attention more, please. I want you to be safe. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget to leave a review. Tell me what's going on with you. And be sure to subscribe, share the show, tell your friends, family, enemies about the show. Get them to subscribe. Get them to hang out. Get them to show you. Maybe this is a cool way to talk to someone. Share some safety tips with them. Start it with a conversation, not an accusation. And then continue to stay safe, I mean, seriously. It's not getting better, okay? It's not. Do your part. Stay safe. It's not wrong for you to be prepared. That's not a lack of faith. Understand you have responsibilities. Anyway, stay safe. See you guys next time.